I will marry her instead.
I can't believe this.
Hey, it's okay. I'm here.
Thank you.
The champagne glass shattered against the marble floor, and 300 people turned to stare at me. I was standing in the middle of Seoul's most expensive wedding venue, holding a stolen microphone, about to ruin everything. The bride looked like she wanted to kill me. The groom was frozen in shock. But the best man? Kong Dae-young, Seoul's most dangerous billionaire and secret mafia boss. He was staring at me like I was the only person in the room. And then he said 5 words that changed my life forever: I'll marry her instead. 3 days later, a warehouse exploded. 3 men died. And I realized that crashing that wedding didn't just ruin a marriage. It started a war. Now, my mother told me this story wouldn't even get 10,000 views or 1,000 subscribers. She said nobody cares about a Nigerian woman who accidentally became a Korean mafia boss's obsession. But I think she's wrong. If you want to see how a regular girl from Lagos brought the most dangerous man in Seoul to his knees, if you want to know who survives this war and whether love can survive bullets and betrayal, subscribe right now and smash that like button, comment where you are watching from and your current time. Now, let me tell you about the day I accidentally became a mafia wife. The champagne glass shattered against marble with a sound that ricocheted through the Grand Hyatt ballroom like a gunshot. Every head turned. Every conversation died. And there I stood, Amara Okonkwo, wedding crasher extraordinaire, with my hand still extended from where I'd accidentally knocked over the champagne tower, my other hand gripping the microphone I'd stolen from the DJ booth. Sorry. Butterfingers. I called out cheerfully, my Nigerian accent cutting through the horrified silence. But since I have everyone's attention. The bride, some porcelain doll named Yuna in a dress that probably cost more than my entire apartment building, looked like she might faint. The groom, standing beside her at the altar, had gone completely still. But it wasn't the groom I was looking at. It was the best man, Kong Dae-young, Seoul's most eligible bachelor, heir to the Kong Corporation empire. And, according to the very detailed file my best friend had sent me 3 hours ago, the actual head of the Beko Mafia family. Also, the man who'd been sending me flowers for 3 months straight. Mr. Kong. I waved at him like we were old friends. Hi. Remember me, Amara? From the charity gala? Where you spilled wine on my vintage Ankara dress and then offered to compensate me for the damages. I made exaggerated air quotes. Dae-young's expression didn't change. He stood there in his immaculate Tom Ford tuxedo, 6 feet of lethal elegance, with those dark eyes that had haunted my dreams since the night we met. His jaw could cut glass. His presence commanded the room even when he wasn't trying. He was staring at me like I was a particularly interesting puzzle. The bride finally found her voice. Security. Remove this goddess. I supplied helpfully. This vision in emerald green? This woman who's about to save you from the biggest mistake of your life. I hopped onto the stage, thank God for my dancing background, and pointed at the groom. Sir, I don't know you. You seem nice. Great hair. But your bride. I turned to Yuna. Girl, I saw you making out with the groomsman in the coat room 20 minutes ago. The one with the man bun. Very enthusiastic kissing. Lots of tongue. The ballroom erupted. Yuna's face went from pale to crimson. That's a lie. Is it though? I pulled out my phone. Because I have a video. Well, I don't, but the server who was getting extra napkins does, and she's my cousin's friend's roommate, so. Complete chaos. The groom lunged for the man-bun groomsman. Yuna shrieked. Guests started shouting. Security guards rushed forward. And Dae-young? He started laughing. Not a polite chuckle. A real, genuine laugh that transformed his entire face from terrifying to absolutely devastating. He stepped off the altar, straightened his cufflinks, and walked straight toward me through the pandemonium like Moses parting the Red Sea. Everyone moved out of his way. You, he said when he reached me, his voice a low rumble that did inappropriate things to my insides, are either incredibly brave or astronomically stupid. I grinned up at him. My mom says I'm both. It's my charm. You just destroyed my best friend's wedding. I just saved your best friend from a cheating fiancé. You're welcome. His lips twitched. The flowers. You never responded to the flowers. Dude, you sent me 300 roses. To my workplace. My co-workers thought someone died. I was being romantic. You were being excessive. I poked his very solid chest. Also, you're in the Mafia. I googled you. And yet you're here. I'm here because you kept sending flowers with increasingly ridiculous notes. Your smile haunts my dreams. I think of your laugh when I negotiate business deals. What kind of Mafia boss writes poetry? The kind who knows what he wants. He stepped closer, and suddenly the chaos around us faded. Why did you really come, Amara? The way he said my name, soft, deliberate, like he was tasting it, made my breath catch. I should have been scared. This man was dangerous, powerful, connected to things I didn't understand. But when he looked at me like that, like I was the only person in the entire world. Because, I said honestly, I haven't been able to stop thinking about you either. And it's really annoying. His smile was slow and predatory. Good. Behind him, the groom was shouting. Yuna was crying. Security was trying to restore order. Dae-young ignored all of it. I'll marry her instead, he said loudly, his voice cutting through the noise. The entire reception froze. Every single person turned to stare. What? I squeaked. He took my hand, his thumb brushing over my knuckles in a gesture so intimate it felt like a promise. You heard me. Since we have a venue, guests, and a minister already present. His dark eyes gleamed with something wicked and wonderful. Amara Okonkwo, will you marry me right now and save me from another boring Saturday night? My brain short-circuited. My heart hammered. And somewhere in the crowd, someone's grandmother fainted. That's... I started. Insane. He supplied. I was going to say romantic in a completely unhinged way. Is that a yes? I looked at this beautiful, dangerous man who'd pursued me with flowers and poetry. Who'd just proposed marriage in the middle of someone else's destroyed wedding. Who was looking at me like I held all the answers to questions he'd been asking his whole life. I should say no. I should run. Instead, I heard myself say, what did Amara answer? And why do I hear police sirens? Absolutely not. Okay, so that came out louder than intended. The entire ballroom gasped. Dae-young's eyebrow rose a fraction of an inch, which I was learning was his equivalent of shocked surprise. You're rejecting me? He sounded genuinely confused, like this was a completely foreign concept. I'm rejecting the insane proposal, not you, you gorgeous lunatic. I gestured wildly around the destroyed reception. We've had one conversation. One. You can't just. I can do whatever I want. Not arrogant. Just factual. That's exactly the problem. You're all. I waved my hands at his perfect face. Tall and brooding and sending industrial-sized flower arrangements like some kind of romantic stalker. I prefer devoted admirer. And I am not going to marry someone I barely know just because you've decided you want me. His expression softened. He stepped even closer, until I could smell his cologne. Something expensive and woodsy that made my knees weak. Then let's get to know each other. That's what normal dating is for. I'm not normal. He said it simply, like commenting on the weather. And you're not either, or you wouldn't have crashed this wedding. He had a point. Damn him. Fine, I said, crossing my arms. You want to marry me? Prove you actually know me. What's my favorite food? Jollof rice. Your mother's recipe, specifically, because you say restaurant versions never get the spice balance right. I blinked. How? Favorite movie? The Princess Bride. You quote it when you're nervous. You referenced it twice the night we met. My heart did a weird fluttery thing. That's mildly creepy but also sweet. Favorite way to spend Sunday mornings? dancing in my apartment to Afrobeats while cooking breakfast. His smile was devastating. You told the waitress at the gala. I was listening to every word you said. Oh no. I was in trouble. Okay, I said shakily. So you were paying attention. That still doesn't mean. Amara. The way he said my name again, like a prayer. I'm not asking you to marry me because I'm impulsive. I'm asking because in 32 years, I've never met anyone who looked at me the way you do. Like you're crazy? Like I'm human. His hand came up, fingertips barely brushing my cheek. Everyone else sees the empire, the power, the reputation. You see me. You argued with me about wine pairings. You made fun of my excessive flower budget. You're not afraid. I'm terrified, I admitted. You're in the mafia. I'm a businessman with unconventional connections. That's the same thing. Is it a deal breaker? I should say yes. I should run. I should. No, I whispered. But the crazy proposal at someone else's wedding thing is. He laughed again, that incredible sound. Fair enough. How about this? Give me 1 week. 7 days. Let me court you properly. Dates. Conversation. Getting to know each other. And if at the end of the week you don't want to see me again. His jaw tightened like the words physically hurt. I'll respect that. And if I do? His eyes blazed. Then I'm putting a ring on your finger so fast you'll get whiplash. Someone cleared their throat loudly. We both turned to find the minister, the traumatized bride and groom, approximately 300 wedding guests, and a very amused older Korean man in an expensive suit watching our entire exchange. Dae-young-ah, the older man said in Korean, then switched to English. Are you seriously negotiating a courtship in the middle of Minho's ruined wedding? Hello, uncle. Dae-young didn't look remotely embarrassed. Yes. The man, who I was guessing was someone important based on how everyone kept giving him nervous looks, smiled at me. You must be the flower girl. I'm the wedding crasher, actually. Amara Okonkwo. I extended my hand. Nice to meet you, sir. He shook it warmly. Kong Hyun-woo. Dae-young's uncle and the man who usually cleans up his messes. He glanced at his nephew. Though this is a new one. I'm not a mess. I protested. No, Hyun-woo agreed, eyes twinkling. You're the solution. My nephew has been insufferable for months. Uncle, have you ever met someone who laughs like sunlight? Uncle, what's an appropriate flower budget for courtship? It's been exhausting. Dae-young actually looked embarrassed. Uncle. You talked about me? I couldn't help my grin. Extensively, Hyun-woo confirmed. So, Amara SSI, are you accepting his week of courtship? I looked at Dae-young, who was watching me with an intensity that should be illegal. 1 week. But I have conditions. Name them. No more excessive flowers. No proposals. No mafia stuff. The first 2 I can agree to. The third. He shrugged elegantly. I'll keep business away from our dates. But I can't change who I am. Honest. I could work with honest. Fine. 1 week. The smile that transformed his face should have come with a warning label. I'll pick you up tomorrow. Wear something comfortable. Where are we going? It's a surprise. I hate surprises. You'll love this one. He raised my hand to his lips, pressing a kiss to my knuckles that sent electricity racing up my arm. I promise. And then he was gone, striding out of the ballroom like he hadn't just destroyed a wedding and negotiated a courtship in the span of 15 minutes. I stood there, dazed, until my phone buzzed. Unknown number, this is Dae-young. I got your number from the florist. Don't be alarmed. Me, that's exactly the kind of thing that should alarm me. Dae-young, noted. Sweet dreams, Amara. I'll be having them about you. I stared at my phone, at the ruined wedding reception, at my life that had just tilted completely sideways. What had I just agreed to? Tomorrow's date is going to change everything. Dae-young picked me up at 10 a.m. in a car that probably cost more than my student loans. I dressed in jeans and a colorful ochre print top, my natural hair in a high puff. Comfortable, like he'd said. Though I'd maybe spent an hour on my makeup. You know. Casually. He stepped out wearing dark jeans and a simple black t-shirt that showed off arms I wanted to climb like a tree. His hair was slightly messy, like he'd run his hands through it. He looked almost normal. You're staring, he said, amused. You're wearing jeans. I didn't think mafia bosses wore jeans. I'm a businessman. With unconventional connections. Yeah. I climbed into the car. So where's this surprise? Patience. Not my strongest virtue. I've noticed. The drive took us out of Seoul's city center, into areas I'd never explored. We talked the whole way, easy conversation about everything and nothing. He asked about my family in Lagos, my work as a graphic designer, my favorite books. I asked about his childhood, his relationship with his uncle, whether he actually enjoyed the flower sending. I enjoyed imagining your reaction, he admitted. Your assistant sent me a video of you yelling at the delivery guy that you didn't order a funeral's worth of roses. Jessica is fired. She thought it was romantic. Jessica is rehired but on probation. He laughed, and I was dangerously close to forgetting all my reservations about dating a man with unconventional connections. We pulled up to a cooking class? Surprise, he said, watching my face. You brought me to a cooking class? A jollof rice cooking class, specifically. The instructor is from Nigeria. I thought. He actually looked nervous. I thought we could learn your mother's recipe together. Or try to. I know I can never replicate it perfectly, but... I kissed him. Just leaned over the center console and pressed my lips to his, cutting off his rambling. He froze for half a second, then his hand came up to cup the back of my head, deepening the kiss with a hunger that made my toes curl. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, he touched his forehead to mine. What was that for? He murmured. For paying attention. For trying. For being. I smiled. Perfect. I'm far from perfect, Amara. Good. Perfect is boring. The cooking class was chaos in the best way. The instructor, Auntie Ngozi, took one look at Dae-young trying to dice onions and declared him hopeless in the kitchen. He took it in stride, laughing when I teased him about his sad, uneven cuts. I have people who cook for me, he protested. Excuses. My dad is a CEO and he can still make a mean egusi soup. Your father sounds formidable. He is. He's also going to interrogate you within an inch of your life if this goes anywhere. Looking forward to it. We burned the first batch of rice. The second batch was too mushy. By the third attempt, working together, we actually created something edible. It's not your mother's recipe, Dae-young said, tasting it carefully. No, but it's ours. The words came out soft, intimate. His eyes met mine across the kitchen counter. Ours. I like that. Auntie Ngozi watched us with knowing eyes, muttering something in Igbo about young love and trouble. After class, Dae-young drove us to a hidden garden tucked behind a traditional Korean temple. Lanterns hung from trees, illuminating a small pond with koi fish. This is my thinking spot, he said as we walked. I come here when business gets too heavy. You're sharing your secret spot with me? I'm sharing everything with you. If you'll let me. We sat on a bench overlooking the pond. His arms stretched behind me, not quite touching, giving me space while making his intentions clear. Can I ask you something? I said. Anything. The mafia thing. How dangerous is it? Really? He was quiet for a moment. Dangerous enough that I have enemies. But I keep my personal life separate. My uncle and we're trying to make the family businesses more legitimate. It's slow. There are people who resist change. But I would never let anything touch you, Amara. Never. You can't promise that. Watch me. His intensity was back, blazing. I've built an empire protecting what's mine. You think I can't protect the woman He stopped, jaw clenching. The woman you what? The woman I'm falling for. Rapidly and without any semblance of control. My breath caught. Dae-young. Too much. No. I turned to face him fully. Just terrifying. Because I'm falling too, and I've known you for 3 months of flowers and 1 actual date. Then let's make it count. He pulled out his phone, pressed something, and suddenly music drifted through hidden speakers. Afrobeats. Burna Boy. Dance with me, he said, standing and extending his hand. Here? In your secret garden. Everywhere. Anywhere. Always. I took his hand and let him pull me close. We swayed together under the lanterns, his hand on my waist, mine on his shoulder. He moved surprisingly well for someone who claimed no dancing experience. You're good at this, I murmured. I watched videos. To prepare. You watched? I pulled back to look at his face. You watched Afrobeats dancing videos? For me. I wanted to be ready. For when you said yes. You're ridiculous. I'm yours. If you want me. The song changed to something slower. He pulled me closer, until we were pressed together, moving as one. His hand slid up my back, leaving fire in its wake. This week was supposed to be about getting to know you, I said against his chest. But I feel like I already do. Like I've known you forever. Soulmates. Don't make me kick you. He laughed, the vibration rumbling through his chest into mine. What if I told you I believe in them? I'd say you're a secret romantic hiding behind a dangerous reputation. Only for you. He tipped my chin up, his thumb brushing my lower lip. Can I kiss you again? Properly this time. I thought you'd never ask. This kiss was different from the car. Slower. Deeper. A claiming and a question all at once. His hands cradled my face like I was precious, while his mouth moved over mine with practiced skill that made me forget my own name. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, the sun had started setting, painting the garden in gold and pink. Come home with me, he whispered against my lips. Dae-young. Just to talk. I want to show you something. I promise to be a perfect gentleman. The heat in his eyes suggested perfect gentleman was negotiable, but I trusted him. Against all logic and reason, I trusted this man. Okay. His penthouse was exactly what I expected. Minimalist, expensive, with a view of Seoul that took my breath away. What I didn't expect was the art. Every wall was covered in pieces from African artists. Paintings, sculptures, photographs. I started collecting after I met you, he admitted. Trying to understand where you came from. Your culture. Your history. I walked through his living room, touching a bronze sculpture from Benin, a vibrant painting from a Ghanaian artist I recognized. This must have cost a fortune. Worth every one. I turned to find him watching me with that intensity again. Why me, Dae-young? Really? Because you're brilliant and brave and you laugh like you're not afraid of anything. Because you see through my bullshit. Because when you walked into that gala covered in wine and started lecturing me about respecting vintage fabric, I knew my life had just changed forever. He crossed to me, hands gentle on my waist. Because you make me want to be better. Not more powerful or more successful. Just better. For you. That's a lot of pressure. Then let me share it. Let me take care of you while you take care of me. Let me. His phone buzzed. Then mine. Then his again, insistently. He glanced at the screen and his expression shuttered. I need to take this. Is everything okay? Business. I'm sorry. This will just take a moment. He stepped into his office, but not before I saw the name on the screen. Uncle Hyun-woo, urgent. Yuna's family is threatening retaliation. Get her out. Now. The door closed behind him, but I'd already seen enough. Retaliation. Against me. Because I'd destroyed the wedding. I stood in Dae-young's beautiful penthouse, surrounded by his attempts to understand my world, and realized just how deep I'd fallen into his. What will Dae-young do to protect Amara? And why is someone knocking on the penthouse door? The knocking grew louder. Dae-young appeared from his office instantly, his whole demeanor changed. This wasn't the gentleman who danced with me in the garden. This was the mafia boss I'd read about. Stay behind me, he ordered, already moving toward the door. Dae-young. Please, Amara. Trust me. He checked the security camera, and his shoulders relaxed fractionally. It's my uncle. Hyun-woo burst in looking uncharacteristically ruffled, followed by two men in dark suits I recognized as bodyguards from the wedding. We have a problem, Hyun-woo said without preamble. Then he noticed me. Amara SSI. Good. You're here. What's going on? Dae-young's jaw clenched. Uncle. She deserves to know. Hyun-woo turned to me. Yuna's father is Park Jin-sung. He runs the Myeongdong territory and doesn't appreciate his daughter being embarrassed. He's put out word that you're to be taught a lesson about disrupting family events. The air left my lungs. He wants to hurt me because I exposed his daughter's cheating. He wants to hurt Dae-young. You're just the convenient target. Like hell. Dae-young's voice was ice. Call a meeting. Every family head. Tonight. Already done. They're gathering at the warehouse. Hyun-woo looked at me apologetically. I'm sorry you're caught in this. My nephew should have warned you about the complications. I told her I'd protect her, Dae-young said. And I will. How? I found my voice, even though I was terrified. By starting a war? If necessary. No. I stepped forward, chin up despite my shaking hands. I crashed that wedding on my own. I knew what I was doing. I'm not hiding behind you. Both men stared at me. Amara, Dae-young started. I'm coming to this meeting. If Park whatever his name wants to threaten me, he can do it to my face. Absolutely not. It's not your decision. We glared at each other. His uncle watched with barely concealed amusement. She's got fire, Hyun-woo said. I like her. Uncle, you're not helping. I'm not trying to. He checked his watch. Meeting starts in an hour. Decide quickly. Dae-young pulled me aside, hands on my shoulders. These men are dangerous, Amara. Not business dangerous. Actually dangerous. They hurt people. And you don't. I do what's necessary to protect my family. But I've never. He struggled for words. I've never had someone I care about in the line of fire before. It's different. You're different. My anger softened. I put my hands over his. I know you want to protect me. But I'm not a damsel. I'm a partner. Right? That's what this week is about? Getting to know each other as equals. Equals in a relationship, yes. But this is my world. That you're asking me to enter. So let me see it. All of it. Not the sanitized version. He closed his eyes, warring with himself. When he opened them, there was resignation and something like pride. You're going to give me gray hair. You'll look distinguished. You're impossible. You like it. I love it. The words slipped out. He froze. I kissed him, cutting off the panic. I know what you meant. Now let's go meet some gangsters. The warehouse was exactly like something out of a movie, industrial, shadowy, filled with dangerous-looking men in expensive suits. I counted at least 50 people, all watching as Dae-young entered with me on his arm. The whispers started immediately. That's her. The African woman? She's with Kang Dae-young? Dae-young's hand tightened on my waist, a possessive gesture that should have annoyed me but instead made me feel safe. Park Jin-sung sat at the head of a long table, a man in his 60s with cold eyes and a cruel mouth. Kang SSI. You brought the problem to us. How considerate. Watch your mouth, Park. Dae-young's voice could have frozen fire. This woman is under my protection. Threaten her again and we'll have more than words. Your protection? Park laughed. You barely know her. She's nobody. a foreign troublemaker who disrespected my family. She exposed your daughter's infidelity and saved Min-ho from a disastrous marriage. You should be thanking her. I should teach her respect. I'd had enough. I stepped forward, out of Dae-young's protective grip, and addressed the room. Hi. I'm Amara Okonkwo, the nobody foreign troublemaker. And I have something to say. Dae-young looked like he wanted to drag me back, but Hyun-woo put a hand on his arm. I crashed that wedding because Mr. Kong here, I gestured to Dae-young, wouldn't stop sending me flowers. 300 roses. To my workplace. It was excessive and romantic and slightly creepy, but it meant something. It meant he was paying attention. Unlike your daughter's fiancé, who apparently didn't notice his bride-to-be was sleeping with his best friend. Several men around the table shifted uncomfortably. I don't know how things work in your world, I continued. But in mine? We don't shoot the messenger. We don't threaten women for telling the truth. And we certainly don't blame someone else for our family's mistakes. Park stood, face reddening. How dare you? Sit down, Jin-sung. The voice came from the shadows. An elderly man stepped forward, someone all the other family heads immediately deferred to. Let the girl speak. But Chairman. Sit. Down. Park sat, glowering. The chairman, whoever he was, studied me with sharp eyes that missed nothing. You have courage, speaking to this room. Foolish courage, perhaps, but courage nonetheless. Tell me, Amara Okonkwo, why should we not grant Park's request? Why should we care about one woman? I felt Dae-young tense beside me, ready to intervene. I squeezed his hand once, trust me, and addressed the chairman. Because if you let Park hurt me for telling an uncomfortable truth, you set a precedent. You tell everyone in this room that honesty is punished. That saving face matters more than integrity. I paused. And because Dae-young will burn down half of Seoul to protect me, and you'll lose a valuable ally over one old man's wounded pride. Silence. Then the chairman smiled. You're right. On all counts. He turned to Park. Your request is denied. The girl stays untouched. Your daughter's shame is your family's problem, not hers. But Chairman. Are you questioning my decision? Park's mouth snapped shut. No, Chairman. Good. The old man looked at me again. You're either very brave or very stupid, girl. My mom says both, I repeated my earlier line, and earned a few chuckles from around the room. Dae-young, the chairman said. Your woman has more balls than half the men in this room. Don't lose her. I don't intend to, Chairman. The meeting dissolved, family heads filing out with wary looks in my direction. Park left without another word, but his glare promised this wasn't over. Finally, it was just us, Hyun-woo, and the chairman. That was incredibly stupid, Dae-young said quietly. But effective, Hyun-woo added. Terrifying, I admitted. I'm going to need several drinks and possibly therapy. Dae-young pulled me into his arms, holding me so tight I could barely breathe. Don't ever do that again. Can't promise that. Amara. If I'm going to be in your life, I need to stand on my own in your world. You can't protect me from everything. Watch me try. The chairman cleared his throat. Young love. How refreshing. He nodded to me. You'll do well here, girl. If you survive the initiation. There's an initiation? Meeting me was the initiation. You passed. He left, leaving us alone with Hyun-woo. I need a drink, I said shakily. I need several, Dae-young agreed. Hyun-woo grinned. I'll call you a car. Take her home, nephew. And maybe keep her away from criminal enterprises for at least a week. Back in the car, the adrenaline crashed and I started shaking. Dae-young immediately pulled me onto his lap, holding me while I processed what had just happened. I stood up to the Mafia, I said into his chest. You did. That was so stupid. Incredibly stupid. Your uncle thinks I'm insane. He loves you already. I pulled back to look at his face. And you. His hands cradled my face, thumbs stroking my cheeks. I'm completely, irrevocably, insanely in love with you, Amara Okonkwo. I know it's too soon. I know it's crazy. But I knew it the moment you lectured me about wine stains, and I've known it every moment since. Tears pricked my eyes. That's really inconvenient. Why? Because I'm in love with you too, and now I can't date other people to make sure you're not just an elaborate delusion. He laughed, pressing his forehead to mine. Marry me. Still no. Worth a try. He kissed me softly. Come home with me. For real this time? Let me worship you the way you deserve. Heat flooded through me. Is that your way of asking if we can? Yes. Amara, I'm asking if I can take you to my bed and spend the rest of the night showing you exactly how much I love you. My pulse skyrocketed. That's direct. I'm done being subtle. I want you. All of you. Your laugh, your courage, your brilliant mind, your beautiful body. I want to learn every way to make you sigh my name. I kissed him hard, cutting off the words that were making me melt. Drive faster. He did. We barely made it through his penthouse door before we were on each other. His hands in my hair, my legs around his waist, both of us desperate and hungry and finally giving in to the attraction that had been building since that first night. Bedroom, I gasped between kisses. Too far. He pressed me against the wall, and I'd never felt anything like the solid heat of him against me. His mouth moved from my lips to my neck, finding spots that made me gasp his name. Dae-young. Tell me to stop and I will. Don't you dare. He carried me to his bedroom, large, masculine, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul. He laid me on the bed like I was precious, then stood back, eyes raking over me with undisguised hunger. You're overdressed, I said breathlessly. So are you. Then do something about it. What happened next was everything. Passionate and tender, intense and sweet. He took his time, mapping every inch of my body with his hands and mouth, learning what made me gasp, what made me beg. And when we finally came together, it felt like coming home. Later, wrapped in his arms with the Seoul lights twinkling outside, I felt his phone buzz on the nightstand. He ignored it. It buzzed again. And again. Answer it, I murmured sleepily. He checked the screen and went rigid. Fuck. What? It's the chairman. He answered, listened, and his face went pale. When? How many? I'll be there in 20 minutes. He hung up and looked at me with anguish. What's wrong? Park Jin-sung. He couldn't get to you, so... Dae-young's jaw clenched. He just bombed one of my warehouses. 3 of my men are dead. 5 injured. Ice flooded my veins. Because of me? Because of him. Because he's a coward who... This is my fault. No. He gripped my shoulders. Listen to me. This is not your fault. This is him starting a war he can't win. People died, Dae-young. And I'm going to make sure he pays for it. But you, he kissed me fiercely. You stay here. You stay safe. Promise me. Where are you going? To end this. The look in his eyes terrified me. This wasn't my gentle lover. This was the mafia boss, cold and deadly. Don't do anything you can't come back from, I whispered. I'll always come back to you. One more kiss. Always. Then he was gone, leaving me alone in his bed, wearing his shirt, wondering if I'd just fallen in love with a man who was about to commit murder. Outside, Seoul burns. Dae-young races toward war. And somewhere in the shadows, Park Jin-sung makes one final call. The girl. I want her alive. Bring her to me. This is just part 1. My mom thinks this story can't get 10,000 views or 1,000 subscribers. If you want to see what happens next, if Amara survives, if Dae-young gets his revenge, if true love can survive the mafia, subscribe now and smash that like button. Part 2 drops tomorrow, and trust me, you do not want to miss what happens when Amara decides to stop being the protected and becomes the protector. Let's prove my mom wrong. Together. Hit that subscribe button now.